Hi guys, how are ya? It's been a while. I have taken a social media break, but I was looking at things the other day, and we all know that things are being scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed. So when I was able to see this again, this popped up. I have such mixed emotions about this picture. I know, and I don't need it all in the comments that, oh, this person said it was this way and this person said it was this way. The deposition said it was one way. The other person said it was this way, and that way. Bottom line is, this ain't normal. Okay. Whoever took the picture, the one side wants to say that Chris took it, and because Chris was at home and he sent this picture to Shannan while she was out on one of her Thrive vacations with Chris, the whatever. But Chris is home. But I'm not talking about that Chris. But anyway, that's the way that I believe the deposition says, but it's been a while since I've seen it. Okay, this picture is just symbolic for so many reasons. So the way it goes, but now if we look at that timeline, if Chris took it, it was right when the girls came back from their vacation from spending 6 weeks alone with Shannan. Okay. Now, the other side wants to say that Shannan took it and posted it on her Facebook, and then Chris saw it and said something. Either way, this is what is called God, I want to say this one is Nap Gate, because it's saying that this is how the girls slept. Now, there is an argument to that, because we know that Shannan, this is not debatable. These are in her own words, where she had the girls sleeping 12 hours a night and 3 hours in the afternoon. So for a total of, 15 hours a day. So basically the way that we raise our children is to have them up 12 hours a day and sleeping 8. Shannan had it opposite for her children, and she tried to blame Baby Wise, which I have disputed by reading the books. If you've not read Baby Wise, you should, and read the editions in which she would have read them in the year of before 2018. So read those. Don't go by what quote you've seen. Don't go by what you've seen in this and that. Do not go and read Baby Wise for yourself, then come back and say that this is where Shannan got it, because she didn't. Okay? And now, I'm going to show you something that's going to rock your freaking world. Okay? Because if you're going to sleep in the day and you're a child, what does a child do? It's bright. They want to nestle in a blanket. Most of them will lay on their sides and put, so they'll kind of nestle in their blanket. My cat will do that too. Boo Boo will do that if there's light in his eyes. He'll nuzzle in a blanket. The other two don't. They'll just, deal with it. I don't pull a blanket over my head when I sleep in the day. I'm nocturnal. I don't know what's wrong with me. Something's wrong with me. I'm nocturnal. I sleep when the light comes out, and I sleep in pure light. I don't put a blanket over my face. But if this is the way that she did it, and she said that she started doing Baby Wise, she refers to this weird ass practice of putting them to bed from 7 to 7, no exceptions, and from noon to 3. Okay? No exceptions. This was a hard line for her. This is what caused the fight when she was back home right before this. So if you were putting your babies to sleep in the day and it was your rigid rule that they slept, you could see that blankets would be put over their heads like this. It's not normal. It's nothing I would do. I'd be scared shitless about SIDS. Now, we know that she joined SIDS groups and knew damn well not to do this with the blanket. So that's where a lot of this also comes in. Now, like I say, they've been doing their best to be locking all this stuff down. So while it's here, I want to memorialize this. This is definitely her Facebook. She has on there that, she's the 80,000 VIP brand promoter as of February 24th, 2018, showing that she traveled to Vegas. I don't see how it's saying that she did that, because it would have been unrealistic to do so, unless, of course, She was buying that much in product, and there was enough product in the basement to survive a couple of apocalypses and not pay the mortgage. So if she did reach this, which this says here, she did it not in the traditional way of how you're supposed to do it by selling to others. She would have continued to have bought her level and deceived her husband. Does that mean that what happened to her should have happened to her and the girls? Hell no. Hell no. But do you also believe that Chris Watts acted alone? I don't know. Do you also believe that Nicole was involved? I don't know. This is the problem. The problem is that the prosecutor did not do his work, so that many of us do not feel that whatever happened is proven beyond a reasonable doubt. And the people will say, well, he confessed several times. No, he did not. An educated person who understands about confessions, duress, your rights as the accused, understands that whatever those were not confessions. There's a deeper story here. And that's all I say. I know that the people, that it's easy to say, oh, I'm in love with Chris Watts and that's why I do it. No, thank you. I just believe in jurisprudence. I believe in our American justice system. I believe that it is flawed, but it is the best that we have in the world. And we do not want to have people in the streets stoning each other in the middle of town square. So the way that we do things is we have trials, we have juries for the trial, and Chris Watts did not have a trial by jury. There was never a trial. He said right away, okay, I did it, or whatever he said, right? And then they charged him with everything under the moon. We have many other alternatives in our system that are guilty. Guilty but, guilty by, guilty except. What about guilty by reason of mental insanity? Do you think that man was in his right mind when he did this? Does that mean he should be set free? No. But does it mean that he should spend the rest of his life in prison without ever telling his side of the story? I don't think so. And one of the things that put the proverbial nail in the coffin was this picture. People say that Chris Watts did this as he was practicing, or that the kids were already, one of them was already, okay, and one of them saw it. There's all of these things about this picture. So I want to look at this picture and I want to show you this. I want to show you that Shannan Watts herself posted this on her Facebook. August 9th of 2018. Now let's talk about those dates. Scary, right? So she's laughing about it. She says, I don't know what to think about this. So let's go down and see what other people think about this. Okay. So I'm going to, just so you can all see that I'm not making this up, that this is all here in real time. This is going on. What we have here is we have 668 comments and we have 2.5 thousand, so 2,500 shares. Okay. We have 64,000 people who have viewed this. People are still seeing this and commenting on it. Okay. So what we're going to do here, as Dan Sheehan had just wrote, so we're going to go to view more comments. And we're going to go to right here to where the first comment was. Okay. Now look at this. Okay. So I'm not doing any trickery here. I'm showing you this because I want you to see what I see. Okay. So this person says dead body 5 years ago. Okay. So right after she posted it, someone said dead body with a question mark. So right when she posted it, she said, I don't know what to think about this. Somebody said dead body. And then right after that, someone said, that's a big ass doll. And then someone said, what doll is that long? Mummified for the relaxation? And Shannan Watts replied. So we see all of these were right here. Shannan had seen these, okay? Shannan had seen this. So when somebody put dead body, this was just a joke that it was their dead body. It was a joke. It was not a premonition. A lot of people then look back at that and they're like, oh, this was a premonition. Oh, this was Chris planning it out. Practice. No, it wasn't. It's my belief that that's how the girls slept, because girls emulate what is going on with their dolls. Psychologists use dolls to show you who touched you where, right? So if the girls are doing this, but then again, why would somebody take a picture of it? Because it's unusual. It is my belief that the girls came back from sleeping where it was light, did that, and Chris saw it and was like, what the, sends the picture, okay? And I'm going to show you why I think that. That's backed up in here, but I got to get the comments coming right in here. Let's see here. Bear with me. Okay. Not that far. Okay. So, what doll is that long? Now, Shannan replied. Let's see what Shannan said. She said, 3-foot doll. Okay. We know that Shannan was not articulate. This is her way of talking. She had a different way of talking, especially in here where she doesn't waste words. Very to the point, okay? 3-foot doll. Basically, someone said, what doll is that long? Okay, it was their 3-foot doll. I had one like that when I was a kid. The life-size doll. So then this one says, when I was little, my neighbor had a life-size doll. We used it to pull off random appendages and then lay them in the middle of our street and watch people shock as they drove by. LOL. And that was also something that Shannan would have seen. Now, I want you to see this. This, my friends, is the smoking gun. Let me see if I can do this right. You see that? Who's that? Who made this comment right here? Who is one Sandy Oronati? Honorati. See, it's been too long since I've been out in Watts World. I couldn't even say it. And we know that Sandy has a lot of spelling errors, and we know that she speaks just like Shannan. So we can see Shannan's comment right there, and we can see that Sandy was always all over her Facebook, okay? So what does Sandy do? Sandy says sleeping. Too bright out. With 2 ha-has. Sleeping. Too bright out. But it's not like she put the 2. That's Sandy. She doesn't. Both Sandy and Shannan seem to write and speak as if they have an 8th grade education. That's not an insult. That's about the time in which we can prove that the education was for them. There were Shannan talked about going to college and nursing school and all that. There's not any proof that that happened, but there is from Sandy's own mouth. And when Sandy's husband, Shannan's dad, commented on how strong Shannan's legs are to kick with, like she wouldn't have went, it was because Sandy and Shannan had physical fights. That's known. There was a lot of strife. Does that mean that what happened here needed to happen? No, but it means that Sandy and Frank Jr. have a whole lot more to say. We need to understand what happened here so that it never happens again. We need to understand. And that's what the people who truly love the girls want. They want the truth out. Look at the people saying these things. And I'm sorry, but taking appendages off a doll and putting them, that's freaking no. Okay? So here, rather than saying dead body, rather than saying anything, Shannan's own mother says, sleeping, too bright out. There you go. There you go. Shannan had just been with Sandy for 6 weeks in North Carolina, and the girls had been with Sandy because Shannan was not there. Shannan was, listen to my other videos and you'll see my theory. But Shannan was not there. The girls were. So it leads me to believe that Sandy saw the girls doing this, that when it was too bright out, they put the cover over their head. Now there's all of the Thriver jokes. Ha, she needs Thrive. Yeah. Ha. Okay, now what does this one say in this 5 replies? Let's see if there's any gems in here. And this one says priceless. Now remember, that's where Shannan would see that. Well, Shannan also said priceless. Now this person in the same time says, is that trash bags over the doll? And then Shannan answers, Kimberly, their twister tarp thing. Kimberly says, oh, this is Shannan writing this. Okay, all of these crying and these shocking things and all of this all came later, because when this happened, when Shannan posted this, her friends were joking about this. When this came out that people are saying, oh, I think it was her twister tarp thing, that's because she said it herself. Shannan said it here herself. In real time. This was Shannan answering. There is so much about this picture. And if there was a jury trial, all of this would be there. Okay? Now I want you to see this. Let's go on to more of what Shannan said. Because we've got a friend saying, oh my, and then someone says NCIS, then someone says DOA. Remember, Shannan seeing all this, because Shannan's next comment by herself on her own Facebook says, at least they covered the body together, period. At least we know they have each other's back. Wow. Do you see this? At least they covered the body together. At least we know they have each other's back. This is Nap Gate, folks. This is Nap Gate. All of this ado over this picture. And all of these people saying premonitions and oh yeah, and it wasn't a blanket, it was a twister thing. Yeah, it was a twister thing because Shannan said that. And Shannan said this. This was a joke at the time. Okay? But it's certainly not anything that Shannan or Shannan's mother thought was a call to action, if you will. And then Josh Rosenberg, just walk away, you saw nothing. And then somebody said, and then LOL. Who says LOL? Frank, Shannan's dad. And then the next friend says, Annie didn't survive. I would think that that is a reference to, in first aid classes, there is a mannequin, and the mannequin's name is Annie. And when you do CPR on Annie, it's the Annie doll. So I would say that that's what she's saying, but I don't know. So then we go here. And then, so this is all in the same time frame, remember. This is in that time frame where Shannan was still saying. And then Pamela says, what have they been watching on TV? LOL. Hopefully they're not plotting anything. If so, I'm going to make the call that Cece is the one who's in charge. Okay. Then let's see. Blackie Davis replies, and let's see what these replies are. And Pamela Jean says, to all the ignorant people putting an angry face underneath this post, please try to have enough intelligence to understand that my comment was written to my friend at the actual time that this picture was posted. Okay, so that's 1 year apart. So Pamela had said that, but Pamela is in tune here. This Pamela here isn't going along with the group thing. Pamela said something like, what have they been watching on TV? Because something ain't right. They're imitating something, and that's true. So she is seeing this for what it is. Because if my kid was doing that, I'd be like, we don't put blankets on our face. They wouldn't have blankets to put on their face, number one, because, like I say, Sid scared the shit out of me. But anyway. So then these comments are 1 year after the event, and then some more newer, right? So this one here says, Pamela, I will never forget this. We thought nothing of this pic until days later. Yes, and that is the truth, because when Chris's dad was in the police station, when Chris said that he wanted a lawyer, and Chris's dad said, I think we need to call a lawyer, and they just ignored him and kept on questioning, which is not okay, and a good defense attorney would have been able to have had everything thrown out, and now there is still, at any time that Christopher Watts wants to step the fuck up and say that he wants his day in court, he has the right to. He does not have, whoever was making up that 3-year rule that he only had 3 years to go, that is for crimes other than a capital murder. There only has to be more evidence that was known at the time of the sentencing, and there's a lot more. So the second that Christopher Watts decides that he wants to stand up and speak out and tell what really happened and what was really going on, he has nothing to lose. But the memory of Shannan, Bella, Cece, and Nico, they could all benefit from the actual truth being told. In their memory, what happened in that house and what was happening in that house and what happened that night, there are people who know, and they need to speak out in honor of those girls so that this never happens again. Chris's father said, the other day there was a picture of the girls putting a blanket over their doll's face, and that didn't set right. Chris's parents saw it and were like, what the? But then Shannan blocked Chris's dad and mom because of their little fight. What was that fight about? It was because the girls were at the Wattses and they never got to go. They were there with their cousins and they were having a great time. And Shannan pulls the girls out, says it's nap time. And Chris's mom said, come on, the girls never are here. They're having fun. Don't make them take a nap. It was daytime. Shannan was like, don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to do. And the very next day, Shannan said that she saw razor blades all over the house, nuts all over the house, all kinds of stuff. It made her daddy come and pick her up from the Wattses. Because the day before, Chris's mom dared to question these daytime nap rituals when the girls were not tired at all. These are the facts. This is the truth. And it's time that came out. And if Chris ends up going through a trial and he doesn't get anything more than what he has, which is life without the possibility of parole, so be it. It is said that he wanted to avoid the death penalty. Well, I don't think that there's any chance of that actually happening. And if somebody with a brain would talk to him and tell him that, and look at the pros and cons of what he's looking at, and that it's not likely he would get the death penalty anyway. It's not likely that that would ever actually happen. And why would he be so scared of death now that he is confirmed in Christ and very, very interested in what the Bible says and speaks in biblical terms? He's not afraid of death. He's not afraid of death like he once was. He should have nothing to fear. Because the truth is the truth. And if the truth is that he did this alone, and this is how he did it and everything, then get up there and say it so that all of these questions can go away. But what needs to be known about that post is if you ever see your children doing that, remind them that it's not safe to put anything over your face when you're sleeping. And it should never be done to a baby, a younger child. Though we don't put things on our face. And I don't know why that wasn't said. And maybe it is said here, but There's so many teaching moments in all things Watts that we tend to forget about that. And that's the tragedy. We have a lot to learn here. It's not over. Now, what Pamela says is that she says, yes, but what I've never shared is my strong intuition kicked in that day when I saw this picture. I won't share my vision and my experience, but at the time, I just pushed it aside. Pamela, if you're out there, I agree that you were the adult in the situation seeing that picture as something very wrong, that your visceral reaction was right, that if you see a child putting something over another likeness of a child, such as a doll or another child, you make sure that that's not anything that is considered safe or acceptable. I believe that Pamela Jean is telling the truth based on how she's put, what have they been watching on TV? Saying, where did they learn this? And then she made a joke because the theme of the conversation was to make a joke, because in so many of Shannan's things, her insults or overall shitty parenting was easier to make jokes about than to look at and be seen as a teaching moment, because anybody who dared to do otherwise was then cut out of her world. Now, this person here, 10 weeks ago, says, was this photo taken by Chris and then sent to Shannan? And you have people laughing and thumbs up. This was just 10 weeks ago, because it goes back and forth. The deposition, I believe, says what he says, and then you have other people out there saying that no, this and that. But there are questions about other people and what they have said, and the truth of it all is that we don't know until this is put in front of a jury. This is how it would work, is that the technician who went through and said this happened would be questioned against the person who represents Facebook and metadata, and they would be up and they would both have timelines here. It doesn't matter that somebody else who wants to pretend like they're an attorney somewhere or whatever, because they're not an attorney. I'm not an attorney, but I am saying that we don't know. And it's ridiculous to put down people and say, oh, you're stupid because you think that. No. The truth is not yet told. And until the truth and the facts are there, laid out and argued in front of a jury of Chris Watts' peers, we do not know. It is not acceptable to put people down and say, you're stupid for thinking this, and to make whole groups of other people say, you're stupid for thinking this. Because the person who was saying, you're stupid for thinking this, was hearing it from somebody else who they don't even like that person anymore. They're in a fight. This needed to be one consideration in many. And you know what? The judge might have thought this was too muddy at all, and would have said, we're not bringing up this picture to discuss Chris Watts' fate in any capacity. And then you'd have to take your own understanding based on the facts and the truth and what you see from your own research and see what you believe. Because as you see right here, this person's being laughed at for just putting that. And that's why it's still important to talk about these things, because that was just 10 weeks ago. Now, the Sydney says, yes, pretty sure, but we'll never actually know, as he said the girls did it. Okay, yes, the girls did that with the dolls. Okay, that's not the question. Okay, people are so quick to vilify Chris that they'll say that. This was not the question. Okay, this person said, was this photo taken by Chris and then sent to Shannan? And this person says, pretty sure, yes, but we'll never actually know, as he said the girls did it. Okay. Did what? No. She took that out and then put that there so that the vilification of Chris Watts is still there. No. The girls did not take the picture. The girls did that. Chris Watts did not put the twister cover over a doll's face. He was too busy doing everything else for the girls and the house and the yard work and everybody else. Well, and even Nicole. He had a lot to do. He sure as hell didn't have time to put a twister cover over the doll face. Okay? So then this person says, thanks. And then this person says, yes, but he said girls did it. Okay, this is all messed up now compared to what the original question was. The question here was this photo taken by Chris and then sent to Shannan? Pretty sure yes, but we'll never actually know as he said the girls did it. Okay, then thanks. Yes, but he said the girls did it. Do you see how things get twisted? Now, we have somebody here who says rest in peace. Now, this person has put this weird thing in a laugh so people don't understand it. Remember, this person wrote RIP, like rest in peace, 5 years ago. So this person had put it when Shannan was there, putting it as a joke. Then this person says, rightly so, 5 years ago, she says, hope people realize this was posted before the tragic events that happened and was intended as a joke on her post. I see angry emoji responses and would hate for people to take this out of context. Just saying. And then she says, even Shannan laughed. And then someone says, very sorry for y'all's loss. Okay. So then it turns into a very sorry for your loss as they're saying this to the rest in peace, where she is trying to say, I said this with a laughing emoji because I said this in real time as Shannan had posted this as a joke. And then people look at her and they're like, oh my God, what kind of person are you for doing that? No, this is a problem in our society, is that people have great difficulty in looking at the original post of things and sourcing the original citation and understanding. There's a great problem with comprehension in our society as a whole. The great dumbing down of the world. We're not getting smarter, folks. Okay, so now this person, Pamela, who said this above, she says, Kia, exactly. I see someone just put an angry face next to one of my posts in regard to this pic. People that are on the outside, not friends, not related, need to realize and understand that this picture and this post happened before the horrific, tragic, heartbreaking events took place. Unfortunately, this is what happens when everything is open to the public. So please, before you go judging and flashing your nasty emojis around, take into consideration that you might just be a stranger looking in, not realizing the timeline of posts, pictures, and videos that you may be viewing. Mic drop. Now, this person says in the same time frame with Shannan, to Shannan, sleeping girl. Okay. Maybe that's the way she has her children sleep as well. Who knows? Now, this one person tagged somebody. Why did this person tag somebody? Makes you wonder, because all we have here is the 5 years. We don't have the exact dates. Okay, we know this picture was taken very, 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 very soon before the tragic events happened. So we can say that that's 5 years ago too. So when you see that, you don't know if that's somebody who's, responding because she's missing and they're looking at her Facebook. When people are missing here, I go to their Facebook, I go to their socials, I see things. Now, let's see what Andrea Susan says here. Okay, because she tagged somebody, so let's see. She says, some folks don't have any dignity or respect. Okay, so that's 5 years. So this person may have said that right after something happened, and it's like, okay. Remember, the original post was put as a joke from Shannan on her page. That's not disputed. This is Shannan's Facebook. Shannan posted that picture as a joke. Where she got that picture, we don't know, because we're not looking at somebody from metadata who is a representative of Facebook who would be able to get into this to show how this was sent up and where it was sent up and from whose phone. Okay. I know that there's all these people that say, oh, it was transcribed this way or not. This wasn't. No. Okay. We don't know. So anyway, Heather says, Steve Jones, if you look at the timeline, it was over a week ago when Shannan posted this pic. It's unfortunate. And then someone says, and who exactly are you referring to, Steve? And then Andrea says, can you not you, the other people on this, making accusations and not showing any respect for Shannan's family. Now, this is all in that 5-year thing. So remember, this was like in a 2-week period of time. And then Steve says, Heather Lee Rock, true, but folks shouldn't be on her personal Facebook making accusations and giving their opinions. It's not the time or the place, and people should be respectful, give their condolences, and respect the family. It's a very sad and horrific situation to even think about as it is. Okay? But Steve started this because he put there, some folks don't have any dignity or respect, not realizing that, remember, this was started as a joke. So then he is coming at that to other people who were referring and talking to Shannan. So he started something and then people jumped on him and it goes back and forth. And that's how this case goes. People just fight and it's ridiculous. Okay. And then this person says, thank you, Steve, for saying exactly what so many of us feel. I don't know any child that has never covered up a doll by also covering their face. Okay. I don't know what you're doing with your kids and your family. If I saw a kid do that, I'm a mom of 6, as y'all know, and have taken care of other kids and everything else. And I'm old as shit, and I have never seen a child cover a baby's face. That is something that you always make sure that the baby can breathe from, when you bring them home in the hospital and little kids see you, always making sure that, nothing is near the baby's face. I have never seen it, so I don't like that. But anyway, all of the education that's out there from SIDS and everything now is that they send the babies home in these little straitjacket type things. And so there is no possibility of a blanket being over a face. So no, it's not normal. It's not okay. It is something that is certainly not acceptable in today's world with all of the education of nothing near the baby's mouth, nothing in the crib, no extra blankets. No, they want them in those little straitjackets swaddled up in the Halo bassinet, and don't get me started about my love for the Halo bassinet, but they don't even want these loose blankets. They don't want blankets in the car seat. Then no, keep them away. It's not okay. So kids should not be seeing that. It shouldn't happen. Then it says, the mother and child are all deceased. Her family has to see all of this. And the fact that so many have taken directing and labeling something is absolutely repulsive. Okay. And then this one says, prayers for you all. She and her girls were so beautiful. Okay. And that's in that time frame, so there you go. And then in that same time period, somebody says, Lori, yes, totally. I can't wrap my mind around how the convo Shannan was having on this day. I hope they return soon and safe. So again, as you can see, all we're seeing is this 5-year time period. So she is still referring to them being missing, and then they're saying rest in peace. So that time period is there, and I see why a lot of people get confused on this, but it's important to know that you need to look at where it started, how it started, and that there are moving parts in it. There is reasonable doubt on who sent it and why, but I don't think there's any reasonable doubt on that the girls did it while they were playing. I don't think that's a question. Now, here we are. It says, I don't know her, but I'm praying for her and her family. Hope they're all found safe. Praying for her and her babies. Praying for Shannan and her babies comes home safe. And then it says, we are laying for their safe return. And there isn't spelled correctly. And I'm not sure. We are laying for their self return. I know what she means, but anyway, praying like crazy. This whole thing has me sick to my stomach. I pray God leads her and her girls home safe and sound, and then praying, and then prayers that they are all found safe. God bless them and their families and friends in this time of need. Praying. Does anyone know when she or anyone spoke with the girls last? They didn't go to Arizona with her, so who had them? Okay, so here we go. Someone puts in there something, and now it says the father had the girls while she was on business in Arizona, and this person says, that's kind of what I feared. Now, this is before anything happened. And then, let's see, this person says, if you were to watch any of the news stations interviewing him, she made it back at 2 a.m. from her business trip. He then left for work at 5:30 a.m., and that was the last time he saw her based on his statement. Around 12:30, a friend showed up at the house because she was not responding to their texts. At the point, she wasn't there, but her belongings were there, so they have called the cops to do a welfare check. Yes and no. And then it says, yes, I know all this. Doesn't mean she saw or talked to her kids in the time he says it happened. Okay, this Yvonne is quite onto things. Let's just say that, based on what we know, because it's a good point, and it's one that we don't know. We cannot prove that Shannan came in and saw the girls alive. We don't know that. We don't know so much because there was not a trial. Now, it says, it makes me wonder if he unalived the girls while she was away and then just unalived her once she got back, which is a theory. It's a theory. And then this person says they were wondering the exact same thing. And then the other person says they thought the same thing. And then somebody says, so sad. And then someone says, some things come to mind. And this and pic of the doll. And the thing could have been in his mind. And to make her think her poor babies were okay, he sent her the pic, making it seem like they did it playing sicko. I don't think that Chris would have done that to be like, hey, look, the girls are doing great. Especially when he had them at the birthday party for the friend and they had a pool and they were eating pizza and stuff. I think that there were other things. I think that the girls did it. It was weird. It's my personal belief that he took it, sent it to her. She posted it on the Facebook as a joke. That's my personal belief. Don't jump on me and say I'm dumb. I have the right to have my opinion. And it's my Facebook, so, you know. So anyway, my Facebook, my YouTube, her Facebook. So then let's see here. And this one says, yep, I saw the same thing. He unalived the kids, then her. The three bodies apparently were not found together. Horrific. Okay. And then, and I'm not being disrespectful here. I'm just saying the words in a way that don't get me in trouble here, because there are certain words and certain topics that you really cannot say on YouTube. So it says there, that makes sense with all the facts coming out, sick and horrifying. And then this person says, I believe she took this photo before her trip away, which is feasible. But why would she have said to Chris, I don't know what to think about this, and put it on her Facebook? I don't know. But it's a theory, and that's fine. This person says maybe he had already hurt the girls. She came home, and then he hurt her. So sad. It'll all come out in court, and he better get all that he deserves. Rip Angels. Yeah, wouldn't it be nice if it all came out in court? But you know what? They didn't have enough to put together in court because they dropped the ball. They dropped the ball, and if they came into a trial by jury, we would see that there was a lot of shoddy police work. And that's the truth of it. There's no conspiracy. There's no this and that. It's just shoddy police work, and they intimidated him in every single way. And we see, that from the massaging, like I've always said, if it was a female suspect and some man who could be considered attractive was massaging the female's back as she cried and gave a half-ass explanation, wouldn't we say that that detective was inappropriate and we need to look at it? So why was it okay that he was being massaged by a female and the ticking clock and it just everything? Listen to my other work on this, and then you'll understand. If nothing else, it'll put you to sleep. It puts a lot of people to sleep. Anyway. This person says, okay, prayers, of course, sent for their safe return. This post is so disturbing, to say the least, in light of the situation. And it is. I send prayers are all found safe and sound. Okay. And then the person who is pretty on to things says, I just find it super odd in the interview. He said he wants her to come back, not I want them all to come home. Agreed. It's odd. But he was also rocking back and forth like he was stimming, because I believe he is on the spectrum very much. And then it says, I cannot imagine what her family and friends are feeling. I can simply send you all my love and wishes that she and her beautiful girls are found safe and brought home to your loving arms. I'm only a stranger who read about her in my Facebook news feed. It's good that the word is out there. Truly hope it helps the search. And then another person tagged on this thing and says, check out her post, dude. And then it says, I hope and pray you and your kids are found and reunited with your family safe and sound. And then this person says, it's like the kids knew. And that's where they get all of this stuff. And they say that, Bella was a savant and knew that this was happening and this was her way of saying it and stuff. No, it's just that they were being put to bed in the light of day. And this was normal for them. And not normal for anybody else. It wasn't normal to put a sound machine next to a newborn and not come in and look at them at all for 12 hours. It's not normal to do that through a 3-year-old. It's not normal to keep the bathroom between them locked and taken out all of the water in the toilet. It's not normal. I'm not going to go. I need to shh. All right. Anyway. This person said it's like the kids knew. What was the reply on that? Let's see. Oh, here we go. Kids are very in tune. I know another set of small kids that told the parents to check on their friends and were nervously rubbing a stuffed animal that their friend had given them on a previous holiday. The one gave them the stuffed animal was also unalived. Exactly my thoughts. And then we now know that the defendant actually did this and claimed it was the kids. Okay, so what she is saying is that Chris took the picture and he said that the girls did this playing. I agree. I mean, and especially if you look at the state of mind of Shannan when I believe that Chris took the picture. I believe the girls did it, took the picture. Chris took the picture, sent it to Shannan. Shannan's there, laughs about it, puts it on her Facebook, shows it all around to her friends. They're all laughing. Okay? This was not seen as heinous. And it doesn't, anyway. Now he says, could this be another Lacey Peterson scenario? I find this very odd, and the husband doesn't seem to be too broken up about his wife and girl's disappearance. Okay. And then we go, you were right. And then who is Lacey Peterson? What rock have you been under, Christy? And then husband admitted to it. And then Christy Edwards, it was a huge nationally covered case. Pregnant, went missing, but her husband had unalived her and dumped her body. Well, you know what? Nancy Grace is one of the people who is not very happy about it, but they're now putting Scott Peterson in the Innocent Project. I don't know about all that, but you know what? Until all questions are answered, when you're putting a person behind bars and taking away their freedom, all questions should be answered. That is what I want in this case. All questions to be answered. And then this person says, because she says, so sad you're all posting comments like this on her personal photo. Hopefully she and her children are found, and then she'll see and read all of these just sad. Okay. Do you have to be the hall monitor here, ma'am? And then, all right. And then she says, I hope they're found too, but seriously, something is fishy. And then this person says this, and remember this all in the time frame. And then she put husband of pregnant Frederick woman detained, has confessed to unaliving her and 2 daughters. So all they're right in that same time frame, and they put it there. And the way that they put the headlines is that he confessed. And it's like, was that confession legal? Would that confession stand up if he had a good defense? But you know what? The thing is that good defense attorneys did offer to defend Chris. He didn't. He rejected other offers of people defending him. He didn't want a defense. So what if Chris Watts is autistic? What if he is officially diagnosed as being autistic? Does that mean that he needs to be defended in a different way? Does it mean that things need to be explained in a way in which he understands? Does it mean that he was not fit to give the confession that they say he gave when he was asking for an attorney and his dad asked for one of them lawyer types to come in? What about that? If Chris Watts was on the spectrum, is on the spectrum, is that a defense? How is it a defense? What do you think? All these questions. I want them answered. Then this person says, I know that I don't know you personally, Shannan, but I notice we do have friends in common. I say a prayer tonight, and then please read the news now. And then, so people just kind of flocked here and they were all on this thing. And then, he confessed. And that really became the speaking point, saying, oh, he confessed. And it is my opinion that confession was under duress. I don't believe in that, what we say, confession. So we have all of this. Let's see here. So a lot of people took to this post in particular. And I think that that's why this is one of the most spoken about notions of the case. And then, so we have there, and this person says here, I wish we would have seen this as a more serious sign before it was too late. Well, how so? What would be the answer to that? That insinuates that this person is saying that Chris did this to a doll. And that by posting it, it was a warning of sorts or a practicing of sorts in what was to come. Which, if the prosecutor was there proving the case, they would say that, maybe, and say that he was just going around putting a twister mat over the doll's face and sending that to Shannan as a message. Does that seem right to you? No. What about all of the stress in the home? And that Chris was being absolutely emasculated and emotionally abused. And that the girls were too. And that the girls were sleeping how much of that time that they were actually locked in isolation for 15 out of it, 24 hours a day. So much so that their language was affected. So much so that their health was affected. So much so that they were missing out on their childhood because they were in isolation, because she didn't want to deal with them. What about all the lies about where the mortgage payment was really going? How much stress was in that home? And what happened? Does that make it right what happened to her? Hell no. But is it a teaching tool in, you know what? There was a lot of stuff going on in that house. And that other people knew. And that maybe that's what should have been brought up, is that those girls shouldn't have been in isolation for 15 out of 24 hours a day. And that maybe there should have been some intervention on Shannan's part. But anybody who tried was treated horribly. And is CPS going to act on that? That a twister thing was put on a doll's face? No. So this question here, or the statement here where I wish we would have seen this as a more serious sign before it was too late. I don't see how that would have made any difference. The truth of the matter is that that's the way that the girls were put to sleep. As you see it from her own mouth, as you see it from her own mom and dad, that's just what happens when you sleep in the day. The way it looked with the twister thing, if it was just a blanket, they wouldn't have said anything, but it was the twister thing, and it just looked weird. It just looked, and because it was this doll with the feet hanging out and everything, it just looked weird, and it was just a joke. It was just a joke. That's all. It's not a premonition. It's not a warning. It was a very distasteful joke. And that's it. Let's see what this person put here. She put it in the same thing. And she says, I understand everyone is wondering and trying to figure stuff out by digging, because I have been too, and I didn't even know her, but it just breaks my heart that her family and friends will see so many people commenting on her pictures and their ideas of what they might think have happened and probably never thought of themselves in this world or sharing it, blah, 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 blah. Oh my God. I'm not calling anybody out because I couldn't read more than 2 or 3 comments. Well, shit, you wrote a fucking book. Anyway, let's see here. I can't read all of that. I have more things to do in my life. And then there's, let's see here. This one says here, let's see if there's anything. Oh, there's lots of books written here. I don't know. I think that in 5 years ago, I used to do the same thing and write like total books to people on Facebook. And now it's like, I just like, eh. And now this person says here, it's a premonition, because she put preminition. Yes, we know premonition, but she doesn't. It says, children are very in tune with spirit. I don't know them, but I felt it too. It has affair written all over it. So a twister mat over a doll's head with the doll's feet hanging out says affair? Says premonition? No. It says that the girls were being put to sleep during the day when the light was out. And they did that because there was a sound machine on. So they couldn't hear Shannan walking back and forth because Shannan did not want them to hear her. She locked the doors from the outside of their room so they would not dare to get out and bother her during that time. The girls were allowed to live when Chris was out. When Chris was there for her, then they were cute and they were little props for her to put up on Facebook and whatnot. But when she was alone with the girls, they were locked in their room by themselves. And she wanted that time from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. to herself and not to be bothered by the children. That's not okay parenting. That's not okay. It's not acceptable. And those are the things that should have been brought up. And am I anti-Shannan? No, I'm not. I'm just anti-shitty parenting. And the people that saw it and didn't say anything needed to. Because, okay, let's see here. Let's see what Supermom says she did. Okay, so on August 8th, 2018, here's the checklist. Went to bed at 2 a.m., up at 5:15 a.m. 2 loads of laundry, dusted whole house, cleaned out fridge and pantry and restocked. 2 grocery stores with kids, Celeste doctor appointment, emptied 7 suitcases, 3 backpacks and put away, fed kids 1,000,000 times. We all showered. We know this is a win. Went through 6 weeks of mail. Washed kitchen floor. Cleaned up kids' disaster. Repacked my suitcase for Arizona this Friday. Then literally said, we're going to bed. and put themselves to bed, rain machines on and all. They are obviously exhausted from traveling and playing. I'm over here knocking everything out, and it's only noon. The old me would have lived out a suitcase for 1 to 2 weeks until it was empty again. All well, 4 months prego. Love my Thrive experience. Hashtag doctor approved. Okay, so let's knock this shit out. Okay, so moms out there, if you were locking your kids in their rooms from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. and from noon to 3, could you get all of this done? Sure. If you're actually interacting and engaging with your children and having the opposite where the kids are up from those times, could you get any of this done? No. Is any of this supposed to be taken while you are pregnant? Absolutely not. This hashtag is bullshit. That's against the FDA. You do not take a substance of any kind, especially with the amount of caffeine in that while you are pregnant. Now, went to bed at 2 a.m., up at 5:15 a.m. Well, that's not healthy for anybody. That's 3 hours of sleep, and that means you're jacking yourself up while you are pregnant. Not okay. Not enough rest for a pregnant woman. 2 loads of laundry, well, okay. She kept the house immaculate because she did not want those kids to play with anything, did not let them play with anything, as you could see. Okay, taking your kids to the grocery store, well, that's what we all do. Taking your kid to the doctor appointment, she took him to the doctor all the time and still ignored what the doctor said and gave Cece especially loads of Benadryl, which were not supposed to be given to a child of her age at any time. And she bragged about that. That is a fact. Emptied suitcases and put them away, yeah, because she was living as a vagabond so that she could, once again, not be engaged with her children. Fed kids a million times. Well, when the kids are away for 15 hours and they are up for 8 hours of that time, well, yeah, they might be hungry, but we saw what she fed them. She fed them ice chips and the occasional marshmallow. And now we all showered. Yes, she made sure that Chris bathed them. Went through 6 weeks of mail. That's because she had been over with her mom and she had had her friend getting all of the mail so that Chris wouldn't see the mortgage statements or any of the bills that were not being paid, because in that 6 weeks and for the 6 months before, right after the bankruptcy, and in that time frame, all of that, she had not been making the mortgage payment. She had in fact been buying all Thrive material, so that there was a big Thrive hoard in the basement, and the house was going into foreclosure. But that's why she was acting like they were going to move, because she was going to have a backup plan anyway in case something happened and Chris saw it sooner. Hey, we're moving out, so you don't know that the house is in foreclosure. Washed kitchen floor. Well, you shouldn't be doing that. You should be engaging with your kids anyway. On 3 hours of sleep with this caffeine. That's not healthy. And that kid, that baby, deserved more. That baby was not the size of a 4-month-old baby at all. The dates don't match up. The size doesn't match up. Caffeine is known to impede the size of a baby. So that could be one thing, or the conception dates, and well, you weren't even at home at the time to have conceived by Mr. Watts could be a factor, and that you were in fact out of time with the other Chris. Anyway, clean up kids disaster. And this is the thing, is that the kids were always being referred to as monsters, making disasters and everything. No, they were kids. And you know what? For those of us who are moms who know what a real day is like, this needs to happen. The kids made a disaster. The house is a mess. And you got little sleep, but you don't take caffeine or any other substance, and you don't put a bunch of stickers on your husband to make him operate better anyway. But anyway, packing back up for this, how about being present for the kids, and how about getting adequate rest for that baby that's in utero? Because if you have lupus, let's talk about this, our lupus friends. It is argued that she did not have lupus. Those of you who have lupus, could you do any of this? Because I have chronic illness, and I couldn't do 2 of these things. But that's the legend and how it was being lived, and these things are the things that need to be looked at, because this doesn't even look like it's true. And okay, putting a picture of the patch saying doctor approved. What doctor? What doctor approved that formulation with that much caffeine to a woman 4 months pregnant, getting 3 hours of sleep a night? Who did that? Which doctor? And how do you say doctor approved? Once again, that is against the FDA. That is, you cannot say that. There are reasons why this is. So when we have this brand promoter and everything, yeah, Thrive isn't backing all this up. So anywho, that's enough for tonight. Just kind of wanted to share my thoughts on what's going on here. Hope you're all well. And I miss y'all. And I've got so much more watts to do now that I finally have a little bit more time. But who knows? Because that's really what happens when you're a mom. You don't have time. Even when your kids are grown, they still need you. So, on that note, we will close here. Thanks for listening. Have a great week. And as always, may you rest in peace, Shannan, Bella, Cece, and Nico. And may truth find its way to the surface in your memory and honor.